And it begins. Welcome to another fine version of Geek and a Nerd, where you get to decide who is the geek and who is the nerd. And for those other people out there, cat bum. So you're welcome. I mean, yeah.
That was a chupacabra sighting. I don't know what you're talking about. So as always, we are your host, Chuck Hewatts.
And I am D. And I represent as the virus that Tony Stark just couldn't get rid of. So he had to put that armor in the closet and keep it there.
And we are coming to you with episode 10, a very special Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles centric episode, as this week has pretty much belonged to that franchise. I mean, we have huge news. We'll dive into it. First of all, last week we got the trailer for Seth Rogen's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Today we got the announcement about the Last Ronin Lost Years. We also got the announcement about the Last Ronin video game made in the style of God of War. Tons of great stuff. New cartoon launching as well to tie in with the movie. So let's get into it. We will start off with The Last Ronin Lost Years, which is a new series that is debuting. Friend of the show, Aaron Bartling, doing some great covers for that we're putting up. But everyone's excited about this because, spoiler alert, at the end of Last Ronin, Michelangelo passes away. But it is then found out that he has taken in 4 new turtles that were exposed to the ooze, and Last Ronin Lost Years will cover them from age 3 to 16. So Danny, I showed you the production photo. We'll put this up, of course, with the video in the comments of the 4 new turtles, whose names are going in order of how you see them on the screen there. It is Odin, Maja, Uno, and Yi.
Odin,
yeah, Odin looks awesome, right? Odin is a giant snapping turtle. So it's 2 female turtles, 2 male turtles in this new set. They are raised by Casey Jones. What you couldn't see in that picture was Moja, the female turtle. She's a painted turtle. So she's got like the painted on headbands and like armbands and everything like that. And she's basically the Donatello of the group, the inventor. But she looks awesome. Out of all 4 of them, I think she looks the coolest. So for those that don't know, Last Ronin is the first time since the original comic series that creators Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird have come together on a story. So them launching this new title with the new Turtles is from the creators. This isn't just some useless reboot to try to bring in some fresh air to the franchise. This is Last Ronin. I mean, we can admit it, Dan. Last Ronin owned the headlines for its 5-issue run. Everybody was like, "This is just a crazy storyline." There was all these guesses as to who it was.
And they're going to show people how you can revamp and put fresh blood in the franchise without ruining it, because they actually know the source material. It's not
Well, that's the thing. They are the source material.
Yeah. And any changes that you may not like, deal with it, folks, because the guys who made it wrote it.
Exactly. That's the exact reason. I mean, honestly, I can't recall another time in comics when this has happened, because obviously Stan Lee created things in the 60s, something like that, but I don't remember any times after the 80s where Stan Lee would come on for a series to help revitalize. You know what I mean? Nobody at DC has really created properties like that. So I think this is the first real time where we're seeing the creators of such a massive IP not only come back to that IP and tell a new story, but birth it for a new generation in a way that makes sense. Usually this will be some comic writer that gets a job at Marvel and wants to put his take on the X-Men or something like that, and will revamp what he considers canon. These are the guys that are canon, you know what I mean? And they hadn't worked together since the original series. So this is really exciting. I mean, we've really never had this before in the comics world. So I want to get your take on that side of it.
I like it. And they're not, this isn't just like a soft reboot. It's a legacy. So
that's exactly
they're moving it forward.
They're not saying like the turtles that we loved and the stuff that happened didn't happen. Like, no, all that happened. This is just what's happening now and what's going to happen.
This is the next step, which, as most good stories go, like there is an evolution of things. Things move forward. So that's what they're doing here.
And so very, very excited to see that. Of the new Ninja Turtle idea, do you think you're going to give that series a chance?
Yeah. Yeah, I like good storytelling.
Their storytelling is awesome.
I like world building. I like storytelling. So like the suspense thrillers are my favorite kind of movies. If you don't have a story, I can't even really get into it because I already know what's going to happen.
So what are your thoughts on Casey Jones raising this new generation of turtles? Because obviously April O'Neil and Michelangelo perish in the last Ronin. So he's kind of like the last survivor of the original crew.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like he's the one guy that would know about their legacy and can be like, all right, let me teach you guys pretty much where this all started, like the people who held the mantle before you with his own little twist on it.
The other cool thing I like is that it appears this version of the Turtles will not have headbands. That could change. But then again, Moja has the painted on headband, which is yellow, which is Janika's color, the fifth turtle. Uh, Very interesting to see that. I like it. I like it. It's a way to separate them from the original Turtles. What I'm interested in is 10, 15 years from now, the generation of kids that grows up with these turtles and then finds out about the original turtles, and then you'll have the warring factions of like which turtles were better.
Yeah, which one's better, which version of which is better, all that kind of good stuff.
So very, very excited there. Another one of the big announcements that came out of left field yesterday, and it's kind of breaking the internet right now. And we're not just talking about my Facebook post about the New York City Ooze.
Everybody loves that stuff.
Dude, for those that don't know, we have a post on the GYGO page right now that's going absolutely viral of some green mystery fluid on an actual New York City subway. And all I did was post a picture and comment like, "Hey, somewhere four turtles and a rat are mutating," and the internet has run with it. Danny and I's notifications have been blowing up all day. So, but yeah, Last Ronin is going to be getting an open world RPG game in the style of God of War. And I got to tell you, that's exciting to me, man. Ninja Turtle games back in the day were great, fun games. But I think this idea of following Michelangelo in that Last Ronin storyline in that God of War type game just opens up so many possibilities.
Yeah, he'll let you do side quests and kind of flesh out a little bit more about that storyline in each turtle. It's kind of like they do the same. Spider-Man did a good job with it. God of War has just every single incarnation of the game has just gotten that much better. Witcher does it, yeah. So it's a good way to kind of hype up the comic while you're also hyping up the game.
And then, of course, we are getting a new animated series that will be voiced by the turtles that we see in Mutant Mayhem. It will follow in the same animation style. For those who know, Nickelodeon owns the Ninja Turtles IP right now. So that's where the show will be posted. Really excited for that. This is the first time that the turtles have been teenagers. You know what I mean? It's right there in the name, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and we're seeing them at 13 years old in this new movie and series, and they're voiced by actual teenagers. It shows, and I'm just excited to see this breath of revitalization come back to a franchise that's so near and dear to my heart. The first movie I ever remember seeing with my parents, it was a drive-in double feature, Overboard with Goldie Hawn and the original Ninja Turtles movie. And keep in mind, this is 1990, so I was 4 years old when that came out, and it's still such a vivid memory for me. And I don't care what anybody says, that original Turtles movie still holds up.
Yeah, they started getting all over the place after that, where they didn't let
Right.
him use weapons.
And now, Danny, you're a little bit older, so you have a different perspective. What was it like to see that original movie and see how well they did with the turtle suits and everything? Like, did it capture your imagination of what you thought the turtles were?
Yeah, it was fun because I remember the turtle comic books. I didn't collect them or anything, but I remember like back when the
Well,
comics were out. Then they had the cartoon that was just more of a fun take on it.
and they're a big deal here. For those that don't know, Danny and I, originally based in Boston. Danny's in a location to be named later right now. But Eastman and Laird created Ninja Turtles right up the road in New Hampshire. So they're local icons here. But yeah, seeing that, I mean, the opening scene of that movie, if you remember, is Mikey sitting below the sewer grate, and Donatello comes in like, "Pizza dude's got 30 seconds." Because this was back in the day that if pizza wasn't there in 30 minutes, it was free. And then that ended real quick when drivers started getting into car accidents because they're driving at 80 miles an hour.
Yeah,
But yeah,
how could this
just
go wrong?
oh man, I don't get it. Now they're sending self-driving cars with Domino's. I'm like, if a robot shows up to my house and is making me get the pizza out of the car myself, we got a problem. This isn't delivery; it's DiGiorno.
Hey, everybody have fun ordering from Skynet. Now it knows your favorite toppings the way you live, so good luck with that.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, that original Turtles movie captured the hearts of a lot of people. Say what you will about two and three. I actually love part three. It's the last movie I remember like showing up at a store when the VHS came out and was like, I'm here at opening morning because it was a direct to video release. It wasn't in theaters. But yeah, Turtles in Time. I've just always loved this franchise, and I feel like it's fallen off the rails the past decade or so. A really weird Nickelodeon show that they had where the animation was very strange for them back in 2012. Then, of course, we had the Michael Bay live action fiascos, which say what you will about the movies. I liked the look of the turtles as they were in live action. I thought that like it was a cool design. Unfortunately, they didn't really follow through with the characters much. That's one
Oh,
thing I
really? You mean Michael Bay made a movie that sucked and had no plot line and character development?
and Megan Fox.
She can't complain about the dude and then be like, "Yeah, I'll go in another movie with you." Like, you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna frame you in the most objectifying ways
Dude,
possible.
the opening scene of the sequel is her trying to seduce Tyler Perry's Baxter Freeman while dressed like a Catholic schoolgirl.
I don't know. I think that guy's horrible and lazy, but people are wrong
All
and they
right.
like him.
Two people are burning in a house fire, Danny. You have to save one.
Neither
It's
one of
Ben
them.
Affleck
Affleck
or
and
Michael
both
Bay.
of them. I don't save either one. Instead, I grab a cup of sugar and I say, "Oh, I thought that's what you meant."
That was not the question. I said you have to save one.
Okay, then I'll wait for Affleck to go blind and have his vocal cords torched. Then I save him. Then he can't act. I don't have to hear his mouth anymore and all his bad Boston. He's the only guy from Boston that can't do a Bostonian accent. Hugh
Actually,
Laurie
I'll throw
is
a
from
third
England.
person in there. I'll give you a wild card. Ben Affleck, Michael Bay, or Woke Andy XXL.
Woke Andy, because him alive is pure joy.
Now, you understood a little bit this morning of what it was like to have your notifications blow up. Imagine that on the Titanic size scale that it had to have happened for Woke Andy. Like this dude's phone committed suicide.
How do you ever see a battery go from 90% to 20% in 2 minutes and wonder how? Yeah, go see Woke Andy when that notification buzz is going off. Just
So yeah,
nonstop.
Ninja Turtles, definitely getting a breath of fresh air. I'm excited to see how fans are going to respond to these new turtles, especially with it being these are the legacy turtles. You know what I mean? We're not trying to replace the Ninja Turtles you knew. In this timeline, those turtles are gone now, sadly, with the way that Last Ronin ended. So I think it's the best possible way to introduce those new characters into the franchise as possible, with them not being replacements, with them being the ones to carry on the legacy.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, everything can't stay stagnant forever. Like at some point, like there's supposed to be growth of some kind. And if you can't handle that, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Like just read something once and then never look at anything ever again for the rest of your life.
And then I just want to finish off. I have rewatched the Mutant Mayhem trailer probably 40 times now. I love it. I am a little biased because both Ninja Turtles and Claymation are so close to my heart. Claymation is my favorite art form there is. I feel like it's just done so well. And I grew up with Robot Chicken and the Rankin Bass holiday specials and Celebrity Deathmatch. So like Claymation's always had a nice part of my heart. But the funniest scene in the Mutant Mayhem trailer is something you have to listen for. At the very end of the trailer, when Raph drops his sight and it impales Donnie in the leg, and Donnie starts screaming, if you pay attention over his screams in true Big Brother fashion, you hear Raphael go, "My bad, my bad. It was an accident. It was an accident." I'm like, we have all said that when we've injured a friend or a little brother or sister. Like, it's all good. It's my fault. Sorry, it was an accident. But if you listen, you can't unhear it. And then just the little things, Michelangelo having braces, Donnie having his glasses, and being, a more childish voice than the other three because he hasn't sprouted up yet. It's just they seem to get it, and it's Seth Rogen. And say what you will about the dude as an actor, but Danny, I mean, let's just go through it. This dude made The Boys. This dude made Invincible. This dude made Preacher. This dude's now doing Ninja Turtles. I mean, this guy has a love for comic books that runs deep and runs true. And say what
And
you
he
will about
sticks with the eye. Well,
he
they
sticks
made
with the canon.
yeah, they made some changes to the boys that ruined a
But
big part of that
but
that I
let's be
liked.
honest though, anybody that's read The Boys It is the single darkest comic book series I've ever read.
Oh, you
There's
couldn't do all that stuff. No,
no,
no.
there's no way. Like just the Starlight scene in the show, it's just the Deep that she ends up like having a sexual thing with. For her. In the comics, it's all the men in the set. Like that show goes. They caused 9/11 in that comic series. Like Homelander eats babies. There's they like to see what they've done with the boys, and you think that's outrageous. Read the
Yeah,
books.
the real comic is the real deconstruction. It's what Tom King tries to do, and he just does it in like a douchey, cringy way. They legit went nuclear bomb on your ideal of heroes.
And
So yeah,
every volume got darker.
I mean, he does good. He does what a lot of people are afraid to do, and that's being true to the source material because they all want to put their imprint. You know, like what we're going to talk about in the DC Marvel show. Where she was like, "Oh, I think we're going to change the name of the X-Men. That's outdated now. Now they'll call X people." Oh Lord, no. The name is X-Men. It's an IP everybody recognizes, and they will call that for a reason. Because the guy, Xavier, made them. They're like, these are my boys. And what is the X-Men? Mostly women. There was a team that was mostly women. They were led in the 70s by Storm. So shut
Represent.
up. You want to hear a strong female character? There is Storm, who will just honestly slap cheeks like crazy. You want to
And
bring
let's
it?
be what's that girl's name? Oh yeah. Oh, Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Just hosted
She
a
was the
Phoenix
most powerful.
Force.
Like, who's the strongest one of the original X-Men? Oh yeah, we found it was Jean Grey.
Like, yeah, the Phoenix Force, just this kind of thing that finds her in every fucking iteration of her
Yeah,
that there's ever been.
an omnipotent entity of power and creation. The only
Love
thing
it,
that can
man.
stand against it is Starbrand. Well, the original Starbrand, not the new one.
So I guess to wrap this up, Dan, what are you most excited for? The Mutant Mayhem movie, the Lost Ronin comic series with the new Turtles, or the Last Ronin game?
I like those open style games. I'm still having fun with Spider-Man on PS4.
Can we be honest and say that that's probably one of the best video games you've ever played? Like, if you love Spider-Man and you love video gaming, that is arguably one of the best video games ever made.
When you play it, you see, oh, this is why Peter was the way he was when he put the mask on. Because it's just different. Like things you can do as Spider-Man, jumping, flipping, spinning,
The
grabbing
physics,
guys,
dude.
flipping
Like
them around.
when you learn how to web dash and like do your flips in the air, and the physics of that game, even going back to Spider-Man 2 on the PS2 back in the day, like the web swinging physics have always been next level.
Yeah, this one's insane because now it gives now you every time you swing and like the way you can angle yourself, and then you can swing, grab onto a wall, run sideways, jump, flip, swing again into a double. It's just insane. Like
And anybody that's played that game is a liar if they tell me that they haven't perfected their web swinging to the point where you could dodge in between like certain buildings and stuff and like maneuver your route exactly how you want to. Like when they have those skywalks and you swing under one just in the nick of time. Like when you
because yeah,
learn the
because they have
physics of that
the
game,
snipers are coming up, so you got to go swing through, kind of flip up, land, see who they are, run to the other side, and then jump over. And now I'm just gonna pull you up and air dash you.
so the idea of that in a Last Ronin video game with Michelangelo, who keep in mind wields all four turtles' weapons throughout the course of that series. So just seeing him do work with those, I think is going to be amazing. I don't see a world where the other turtles don't appear in their astral form like they do in the comics. Like Michelangelo's always seeing them throughout the course of the comics. So I think that's going to be something that'll be continued. But yeah, I think that's going to be the most exciting thing that comes out of this. I'm really excited for Last Ronin Lost Years, though, to see this new group of turtles come up and kind of earn their place in the canon is going to be really cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. For me, that game was gonna be something else.
All right, guys. As always, want to throw out some love to our friends down under in Australia, Operation Paperclip, Emu. We're with you guys, man.
Pine Gap.
Pine Gap. Paperclip is America. Sorry, that's what got us into the Cuban Missile Crisis. But yeah, love you guys. As always, check us out on the website at GYGOnetwork.com. The Facebook page, we can make this now. This will be the first week. 2 new shows have joined the GYGO Network, coming to you guys every Friday. We have our buddies Comics Castro and Young Jules bringing you the Comics Con podcast every week. And then Tim Thompson, longtime editor and contributor to GYGO Network, has just launched his podcast, Beers, Bourbon, and Body Slams, which will be taking a look at different alcohol brews and wrestling matches every week. It's basically him getting drunk, commentating on wrestling. Very cool. He's a great guy, but truly embracing the network side of GYGO Network now. So between that and what we put out, you guys are looking at a different show every day that you can watch pretty much. But we will post everything on Fridays. We just feel like that's the coolest drop day. Enjoy your weekend with a different selection of GYGO stuff. So Danny, what are your thoughts on the 2 new shows joining GYGO?
Like it, more the better. We're gonna start some behind the scenes stuff working, trying to find some more artists. And as this Comic-Con season comes up, I know I'm trying to get up to a couple of Comic-Cons in person because I need to find some cosplayers to join up to the channel.
I think that we can announce right now that it's going to be no surprise to anybody. Danny will be making his first appearance at the GYGO Home Comic Con, which is Rhode Island Comic Con, November 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Providence, Rhode Island. It's the best Comic Con in the country. Danny will be joining us. This will be my 7th year at Rhode Island. Danny will be your first.
I have so many comics from the Thor 300s that I want to get signed. So.
And there is no more fun than to see what it's going to be like when we sit down at the press junket with Mr. Ben Affleck, the show's spirit animal, and Danny gets to just troll him as hard as possible.
I get to heap so much praise upon this man. Tell him how awesome I think he is, and he's fantastic. And I don't care what people say, and then I'll tell him all the mean things Chuck says behind the scenes. People say things like, you're a bum, you suck, you can't direct, your acting's crap, and you literally gave him cancer. But I say, you are fantastic, my friend. A gem.
So yeah, excited there. So obviously, great new stuff to come here for the network. But for a Ninja Turtles special edition of Geek and a Nerd today, that's going to be it for me, Chuck Watts. Love you guys, no matter what you do in life. Always remember that try to stay away from Oprah. And Danny will let you lead us out.
Stay away from Oprah, and definitely stay away from every and all Ben Affleck associated properties.
Matt Damon.